Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Two Pigs in a Pod, a podcast for the people of Glazing by the people of Glazing. I'm, of course, your host, George, and today's guest is Ash Pearson of Jack Aluminium. Welcome to Two Pigs in a Pod, Ash. How are you?
Thanks, George. Yeah, I'm well. I'm really happy to be with you. Happy to be doing this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on here. So, yeah, I can't remember the last time. It was a good few years ago that we obviously I've came up to the office. So, yeah, it's nice to have a chat again, and for by the
Absolutely.
means of a podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to getting stuck in.
Yeah, so as we do, we'll get stuck in straight away by saying, yeah, who are you and who are Jack Aluminium?
Okay, so my name is Ash Pearson. I'm National Sales Manager at Jack Aluminium. Jack Aluminium are an aluminium systems company. So we design aluminium residential and commercial systems, and we obviously stock the profile, all the hardware and accessories, and manufacturers purchase that from us to manufacture and obviously produce and out in the industry.
Nice. And as we always do with our podcast, we like to take it back to right at the start. And yeah, what was your sort of first foray into the glazing sector? And yeah, what was your kind of your route into it, I guess?
It's a funny one, really. I guess if you asked me when I was young, like, what do you think you're going to be doing when you're older? Like, we all
Yeah.
have these grand dreams, don't we? I don't know, being astronauts or racing drivers or whatever. So yeah, sort of selling aluminium isn't necessarily kind of top of that list. Um, I think that my dad's been in the industry a long time. I'm sure we'll come on to it,
Yeah.
of course, obviously with his involvement in Jack Aluminium. So yeah, that was my kind of first exposure, really seeing Dad come home and hearing bits and bobs about what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And from there, really, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't hugely interested when he was talking to me about
No, of
windows and
course, no.
but yeah, as you kind of you get older and you get a bit more interested, don't you? So yeah, that was certainly my first exposure.
Nice. And did you listen to the conversations that you're having with, or your dad was having? What did you think that the sector was? Did you have any idea of what he was kind of doing in a day to day when you was growing up?
No, I probably didn't take that much interest in it, George. To be honest,
Yeah.
look, Dad's obviously owns the business now, but obviously sales is kind of in his blood. Really, that's what
Yeah.
he's always done. So yeah, I got an idea that he was in the process of selling.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of my first memory, I think, of kind of what Dad was up to. But definitely the sales side, like he's always really enjoyed that, and the kind of the thrill of the chase, if you like, in terms of
Yeah.
getting new business across the line, and I can always remember seeing him get excited about that.
Yeah, nice. And was it always the plan to like I'm sure you'll tell us how you ended up working for Jack Aluminium instead of being an astronaut. So yeah, was it always the plan to follow your dad?
No, no, not at all. And do you know what? We never actually sort of spoke about it. Really, it wasn't as if it's like, right, well, Ash, eventually this is what's
Yeah,
going to happen.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm sure we'll come on to talk about it, but yeah, I think I had different other plans when I was young, and I was always big into my cricket when I was young, and
nice,
played at a reasonably high level. So I think I'd always kind of just thought to myself, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to
yeah,
go into professional cricket.
nice,
Um, but very soon realised that probably didn't have quite what it was required to play at that top level.
yeah,
So yeah, then like you say, back to reality really, and obviously back to kind of thinking, well, what am I actually going to do in the real world? But no, it certainly wasn't. It wasn't the plan.
okay. And do you still play cricket now? Before we move on, do you still
No, I
dabble?
don't. No, I dabble. I still play the odd game
Yeah,
here and there, just for when people need a help, just locally. But no, I found I struggle with just too many injuries.
yeah,
Yeah, my sort of mid 30s, just my knees and my shoulders started to give in a little bit, and I just found I wasn't able to kind of to perform where I used to, or certainly practice enough,
yeah,
to kind of get to the level I needed to get to. So yeah, it was a tough one, really. So yeah, like I say, I stopped playing, but then ended up taking up golf. So that's kind of what takes my
nice,
time up instead of cricket now.
nice,
Um, Not the same in terms of obviously that team environment. Always really enjoyed the
yeah,
team environment with the boys, and when winning a game of cricket, a tough game of cricket, and having a beer at the end of the day. Yeah, yeah, very few better feelings than that. But yeah, golf, sort of does the job.
Yeah, nice.
competitively speaking. Yeah.
Nice. And then how did you get into the, to work for Jack Aluminium? What was that sort of, you obviously
Yeah.
you're there now and you've been there for a good few years, but yeah, what was that?
Yeah.
What was the route into it to say, yeah, this is potential for the career?
Yeah. So probably coming on to a later question, I know you're going to mention about well, about this really. So I was living out in Spain, believe it or not.
Oh,
I used to be a personal trainer for many
yeah.
years, and I decided that I'd had enough of the rubbish weather here in the UK, as you do. So got in the car, chucked all my stuff in the car, went down to South Spain and set up a business down there. Sort of like I said, self-employed personal training. Um, Went really well. Living by the beach, sort of almost like living the dream, if you
Yeah.
like. Um, but it's interesting, I've kind of found like I was just coasting a little bit. It was fine. I was earning enough money to live a nice life, and I just kind of thought, you know what? There's got to be a bit more to it. I feel like maybe there's more ambition in me to do
Okay.
more. Um, and it just came at a time when I was talking to Dad, and he's sort of saying, he's getting a little bit older now and looking to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I just said, look, talk to me a little bit more about the business. What do you really need? And it basically just needed, at the time, young blood
Yeah.
to come in and basically just get stuck in, and just grow the exposure of the business, and just really push the sales side. Um, so yeah, that's like I say, that's kind of how it came about, how the first conversations came about. And then, yeah, so I just sort of, wrapped up all my clients down in Spain, jumped in the car, got back to the UK and got cracking. I think that was, well, it would have been 12, 13 years ago now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's that process.
Nice. And do you feel like you brought, obviously personal training and the glazing sector are worlds apart, but do you feel you brought anything from obviously owning your own business and potentially working
Hmm.
in another country, do you feel you
Yeah.
brought any sort of key skills from that life into the sales role?
Um, I think probably just it was a big move for me. Do you know what I mean? Just all of a sudden, just upping sticks and chucking everything in the car and going down to Spain. I'll be honest with you, it wasn't without an element of trepidation and a bit of kind of anxiety and stuff. So I've always, um, I think sometimes when you do things like that, it tells you a little bit about yourself. Um, and I would say that I learned quite a lot from that. That actually sometimes there might be things that you're not sure about, or you're a bit nervous about, but you know what? Just get stuck in and give it a go. And I think that's probably the thing that I've carried through. I mean, especially in the early years in glazing, I'd go out with my old man in the car and just sort of watch how he would do it. But yeah, I mean, and going out for the first time and selling and going to speak to people. Now, bearing in mind, the people I was selling to 10, 12 years ago, the industry's changed a bit. But I mean, these people, like, they know a lot more than I know. And I'm sitting in front of them trying to sell them stuff that, like, them asking me questions that perhaps I didn't know the answer, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it was hard work, actually. But again, going back to what I was saying, it's part of learning a bit about yourself, that it's easy just to shrink then and go, well, no, this is not for me. But no, you know what I mean? Like I say, really got stuck in and just, yeah, and just, learned the things that I needed to learn. And yeah, and then obviously just took that in with confidence through doing the job.
Nice. And now you're in the glazing sector, you're going out with meetings with your dad. What was your first impressions of it, of those those people that you spoke to and you're trying to sell,
Yeah,
even though you're brand new into the industry? And yeah, what
yeah.
what kind of, was there any surprises about the sector now you were in on the inside of it rather than just hearing about it from your dad?
Yeah, I mean, I think that at first, yeah, I think I was just sort of shocked, perhaps, by the amount that you needed to know.
Yeah.
First going into it, I was like, well, how complicated can it be? It's a window and a door, or it's curtain
Yeah.
walling, whatever it might be. And I always remember looking through the manuals, and these were just profiles and just sections. And I was like, what is all this? And like, how does that go together? Because my brain doesn't quite work like that. I
Yeah.
physically need to see things put together to get it.
Yeah.
Whereas some people, especially like a lot of these fabricators that we're seeing, they can just look at the manual and they can be like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, cool, that goes with that, that does that, that does, oh, right, okay, I like that. Whereas at the start, I was sitting there going, when they were looking at it, I was like, oh God, I really hope that they know what they're looking at because I don't. Sort of thing. Just really back then, really winging it, but obviously got a lot better at it now, of course. But yeah, I just remember the amount of stuff that you needed to know, the knowledge that you needed to know to because you have to convince the person that you're talking to. If you just go in, you don't know what you're talking about. I guess this is relevant for anything in life. You get found out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was making sure that you, yeah, like I say, you had the knowledge where you could sit and actually sell these things properly, and that took time. That took a lot of time, but I would say that, yeah, I'm just about there now after 12 years.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you said about it being just a window or door, I think that's our kind of problem in such a way that it looks such a simple thing, a window or door. You see it, well, we've said it, hundreds of times on this podcast that,
Yeah,
oh, it's just a window or door. You see it, you see windows, doors, loads, countless times a day of obviously being at home, being in the office, wherever you may be. But you don't
yeah,
actually know really, the average person doesn't know what goes into that. It's
no, no,
yeah,
no,
it's a feat of engineering, which is, yeah,
yeah,
probably we don't make a song enough of a song and dance about to actually say, this is pretty impressive, regardless
yeah.
of it being, a very normal thing in everyday world.
Yeah, I agree with you, but it's funny at the same time though, because I mean, like when I try and talk to my missus about something, I because I'll forget who I'm talking to, and I get a bit carried away, and I'm like, yeah, so for the internal door, we've got like this new rebated section. It works really well with this hinge and stuff, and then she'll be like, what? I'm like,
Yeah,
what are you doing telling me about this stuff? Like,
just
I
just
don't
the
care.
question marks come up on the eyes, like, or what?
Exactly, exactly. I've actually got quite a funny thing that's just popped into my head that I remember. So when Dad was obviously in the glazing industry years ago, and this
Yeah.
was before I joined, I remember we were walking into like a Costa or a Starbucks or something like that, and we're walking. I walked to the counter, and I turned around. I'm like, Dad, what are you having? And he's back, literally at the entrance, looking at the door. He's like looking at the door system and like studying, like, oh, whose is this? Who's that? And I'm like, what are you doing, you weirdo?
Yeah.
And I find myself now doing exactly the same thing, sort of looking whose door system that is, or critiquing it, being like, "Oh, that doesn't work," or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And it's just very funny. And we actually had an instance where we were both together. I think it was in Nottingham, one of the Starbucks in Nottingham. Me and Dad were looking at this door, and actually the manager came out and said, "Can I help you guys?" I think he thought that we were trying to look at how we would break in.
Yeah. That's where we can get in with.
Yeah, so that was a funny one, but yeah, sorry, that just came into my head.
Yeah. And did you feel any pressure? Obviously being out with your dad, first of all, like, but obviously your dad was the owner of the business, and did you feel the pressure of being part of the same family, or did you actually feel a bit more comfortable that, at least you had someone to learn from, a great deal, and obviously, goes beyond the 9 to 5?
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think I did feel that pressure. I think that in terms of the way I am, I probably tend to put pressure on myself as it is anyway. It's always something I've tended to do, maybe put too much pressure. Again, was probably the problem with my cricket. Just didn't go out and express myself enough. You know what I mean? Just put myself under too much in my head, thinking, oh, can't do this, can't do that, whatever. So yeah, I think there was an element of that, and also, with the boss's son tag, that I guess follows you around everywhere. Everyone's like, oh, well, you're the boss's son, sort of thing. I've always been I've always been really, really not careful on that front. I've just been very aware of it, that, and the same obviously within Jack Aluminium, that there's never any preferential stuff, in terms of sort of whether it be, I don't know, holiday times, or anyone just think, oh yeah, well, you're the boss's son, you can do what you want. No, stuff like that. You have the same as everyone else. It works exactly the
But
same as everyone
sometimes it's
else.
harder, I guess. Like, because you are the boss's son, like you probably do get treated differently, sort of on the opposite scale, where you got to prove yourself. You got to work a bit more, a bit harder to
Yeah,
earn that, because they want you to earn that respect on your own, rather than being the boss's son.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Um, so look, I'm not saying it's not without benefits. Of course it is. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I've always been very, yeah, I've always tried to be very careful, and I'm very aware that it's important for everyone as part of the business to make sure that we're all in it together, and it can't just be one rule for them, one rule for another, because yeah, that can backfire pretty soon on you if you start taking liberties.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, you must have done something well because you're still here. Sort of at 12 years later. So
Well, they can't sack me. They can't sack me, George. I'm the boss's son.
how has that role changed? From those early meetings with your dad. Obviously, you're out on your own, and like you say, you're a national sales manager, so you're here, there, and everywhere for the business. Yeah, how's the role changed over those years, and what you do?
Hmm. Um, yeah, I mean, certainly those. It's definitely changed. There's no doubt about it. I think in those early years, I remember like the miles I used to do was crazy, like crazy, crazy mileage. That's definitely dropped. I don't do nearly as much mileage. Just obviously still cover the miles, but you can do obviously more now, can't you? With teams and things like that, people are more than happy for that to be the case. And I remember back in the early days, I used to go out with our technical manager and show people how to make things. Um, but talking about how the industry's changed, I would say probably like 10, 12 years ago, we didn't have to go out that much to show people how to make it. Like you'd have the manual and people would just be like, cool, yeah, I know how to make it. No worries, I'll give you a call if there's any problems. It's definitely changed. Fast forward 12 years. Now it's a case. So we've got a guy who's come on board, David, who's our engineer, and he's absolutely brilliant. He goes out and shows people how to make things, all over the UK. He's super, super busy. So like if I try and think of myself now, if I was doing that with my technical manager, like we would just never get anything done. So you're needing to go out there now. People need to be shown, how to kind of do things a bit more. So there's, part of the bigger question, I guess, about skills in the industry. But you've obviously got the emergence of automation now as well, which I think is making, a big difference where you've got the, CNCs, which, yeah, like I said, they make a big difference. So perhaps it becomes a bit more of an assembly job rather than an actual fabricated job. I've gone off piece slightly there, haven't I?
No, no, no. It's interesting, and it's very apt for our industry to talk about, yeah, how the industry is changing, and
Mm,
like you said, the role of automation. Because yeah, I feel like we're quite quick to say, oh, the industry is struggling to get people in, but that's because the industry is different to how it was back then. It's not the same, and I just feel like we do need to talk about how it is now, and hopefully to invoke those sort of people that are more, sort of understand computers and understand sort of automation, AI, and things like that.
yeah,
We do need them in our industry, and they will have a benefit to having them in, yeah, within the sector.
yeah, yeah. No, I think you're right. I think the AI one's a really interesting one. I've got to be honest, probably up until about 6 months ago, I was really kind of not against it, but I just never ever really used it.
Yeah,
Whereas using it a bit more in the last 6 months, whether it be for personal, whether it be for business,
yeah,
it's nuts, really, isn't it? I mean, it's just crazy. So the other day, what was that? I can't remember. I was looking at something just like generic guidelines for window and door installation and just typing that into like chat GPT, something like
yeah,
that. And what came out, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm just going to check that this information is as should be.
yeah,
It's frighteningly accurate.
yeah.
Like, and you're like, wow, okay,
Yeah, but
yeah,
that's the prime example that we I've spoken about, that you still go to, you're putting into GPT and saying, "Oh, do this for me," and it comes out, and you're not saying, "Well, that's definitely correct." And like you still need the expertise and the understanding of it to understand if it's right or wrong, and I think that's what we're going to need for our sector
yeah,
with AI. Is we still need the people to understand what the AI is giving to us, whether it is actually right or wrong, and it will get smarter. We know that, but you
yeah,
still need those technical people, like you said, and those people with great understanding of our industry to actually say, yeah, it's doing a good job, or no, we need to kind of work, put a different message into it, or whatnot. It's not as easy as saying, oh, AI is going to take over the world, because it's not going to take over our sector, because we do
no.
still need the people in it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, look, I know that there are some of your larger companies, not necessarily here in the UK, but across Europe and stuff, where now a lot of these factories are fully automated. So a lot of the door systems and window systems are automated. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Of course, we're talking huge amounts of investment on a frighteningly large scale for that to take place. But yeah, as you say, I think there's always going to be a need for actual physical understanding and technical skills. in the industry.
Yeah, definitely. And to, speak about some of your highlights or sort of big moments throughout your career at Jack, is there anything that sort of springs to mind that you thought, yeah, we did a good job there, or I was pretty proud of that one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you coming on board. I think obviously when Jeff, sorry, my dad was slowing down a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I needed to really, like I said, I needed to get stuck in fast,
yeah,
basically. So that was it really. So having to learn on the job, get stuck in, get out there, and drive those sales forward. So I think, yeah, I think there's an element of that, but at the same time, I don't want to blow my trumpet too much. I've been backed up incredibly well by the business. I
nice.
mean, honestly, like just everyone is pulling in the same direction. It's phenomenal, really,
Yeah,
and that can be everyone within the organisation. We all stay in touch. Everyone gets on well,
yeah,
and it's about that customer service, and it's about caring and actually really giving a service and caring about it. And you feel that so much from the team.
yeah,
So for me, I'm put in a wonderful job to be able to sell because I can literally sit down, look someone in their eyes, and say to them, "This product's great because it's been
yeah,
designed by Terry, and he
yeah,
designs brilliant products. You're going to get it when we say you're going to get it. You might even get it even sooner than you think,
yeah,
and that the price is competitive." So it's not a complicated business model, but it's one that works, and it's one
yeah,
that, like I said, I'm able to sell with absolute confidence. We've taken on a couple of new salesmen recently, and it's one of the things that I've highlighted to them because they've come from other systems houses, and I'm not going to mention anyone
yeah,
specifically.
yeah,
Yeah, but I said to them, you will be able to sit down and absolutely sell with 100% confidence of thinking, not walking out the door thinking, oh God, I've done a good job of selling there, but are we going to be able to back it up? I
yeah.
don't have that problem. I don't have that. So we're like I say, we're incredibly fortunate on that one. But in terms of blowing my own trumpet, um,
This is the perfect place for it. If you're allowed one time, it's on a podcast talking about your career. So yeah, please go for it.
I would say that we've got a few kind of products that are really of interest, and if we look at our sales at the moment, like I said, we're flying with these particular products. So I guess it feels quite nice, quite vindicated um, that they were the right ones for us to push. So we've got our TD68, our thermal commercial door. To be fair, Jeff and Terry are the ones that designed it all those years ago. So it's a brilliant door. It hasn't changed too much. It hasn't needed to because it's so good.
Yeah,
But I think we saw an opportunity probably about 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, where there was a higher security level that needed to come in. So Pass 24 was like the standard, but we were seeing more of a call for higher security doors.
yeah,
And it just happens that our door is so good and so strong that it can go to this further security level. So it's called STS 202 or LPS 1175 is the equivalent standard. So we're basically growing that scope now, so that it matches essentially our Pass 24 scope. And I think the
yeah.
thing that is wonderful is it's very much a steel standard, a steel door standard.
Okay.
So to have an aluminium door all of a sudden that can mix
Yeah,
it at that level is super interesting. So that was one that I pushed really hard for us to go down, and we continue to grow our scope on that to this very day. Um, and then really, I guess the movement where everyone's gone now is that heritage market.
yeah,
Again, 3 years ago, everything, like I said, I pushed and said we needed something slim. It's got to be that have that heritage look. So we came up with our heritage window. We've got an external heritage door, and from there, really moving into the internal door system. We've got a really cool internal door system, our ID30,
yeah,
which is a lovely door to manufacture and install. And we're finding that's gaining so much traction. So I'm glad that with the help of another fabricator, to be fair, actually we work quite closely with them on it. We've really pushed very hard on that product, and certainly sort of internally aluminium wise, really there's nothing like it because we've just got so many different door variations that you can have,
yeah,
and it just looks great. So yeah, I would say they're probably the heritage market ID30 and pushing TD68 down the that upper security level. I would say probably they're my standouts.
Yeah, nice. And do you think you've spoken about obviously commercial and residential that like do you think you're more known for one than the other? Obviously, I'm sure you push both, both sides as equal, but do you feel you're stronger in one compared to the other where, like because I think when I came to see you was probably at the start of or near the start of your commercial side of things. And obviously that's grown massively since I spoke to you. But do you feel like, yeah, it has gone well, but do you feel like you're more known for one than the other, in 2026?
Mhm. I would say that commercial is probably our bread and butter.
Yeah,
So commercially, it's definitely our bread and butter. All those years ago, starting with the non-thermal shop fronts and the curtain
yeah,
walling, and the commercial window, and then obviously the thermal door. So I would say that's probably where we still remain in terms of being super comfortable.
yeah,
The residential market's a slightly different beast, and we definitely had to learn on that, especially with regards to things like not paying quality, but what's expected, I should say,
yeah, okay,
in the market.
yeah,
Commercially, as I said, there's a lot more leeway for it. But yeah, you can have a slight, minimal, tiny little defect on something residentially speaking, and all of a sudden you're getting calls about it saying, "I can't do this. I installed the door, taking the tape off. You got this," and you're looking at it.
yeah,
People sort of saying, "Oh, but 2 minutes past 6 in the evening, when the sun shines just on this element of it, I can see
yeah,
this." That sort of stuff is quite crazy, really. But look, it is what it is. But yeah, I would say we're definitely starting to make more waves now in the residential market.
nice,
Like I said, with our heritage products, that's really piqued the interest. We do a lot of our heritage window. We do a lot of our external heritage door. And as I said, I think ID30 has been the internal system has been a real kind of eye catcher.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and
definitely,
that's been the yeah, that's been the great thing where people are like, oh wow, like you can do like an internal bifold, which you don't need like a track on the floor or this telescopic door, this sliding door. I love how it works. And all of a sudden, people look at it and then they go, oh, well, hang on a second. I didn't realize you do external heritage doors. Didn't realize you do external windows.
yeah,
So those little, like I said, those things that have caught the attention. But I would say that, yeah, commercial is where we're just like super comfortable in a bubble where we're super happy. Residential, we're comfortable there, but we're still kind of feeling our way into
yeah.
that market a little bit.
Nice. And we're going to move on to talk about Fit Show now that you've obviously just
Okay.
announced that you'll be exhibiting there. How does it feel to be back at Fit Show and yeah, kind of walk us through the sort of the early plans with obviously just over a year to go until the show.
Yeah. So, do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I've always been a little bit skeptical of things like the Fit Show or various different generic events, I should say. Um, but I was really pleasantly surprised. Like when we did it last time round, last year wasn't it? Year before, God, we did it the year before. I loved it. I really, really loved it. I loved the kind of the energy of the place. Lots going on. Great to obviously see what other people are up to as well. So have a little mooch around and have a little look and see what our competitors are up to. But we were on the cab stand. I think not if people don't know. Of course, we were on the cab stand this, like I said, the last time around, and I think that was great because it was like a real kind of hub of activity, and we were in a great location as well. So. I just remember it being full on, lots going on. Like as soon as you finish talking to someone, you go, "Oh, I've got to talk to them. I've got to talk to them." So by the end of the day, you're absolutely cooked. But I just remember really, really enjoying it, and the whole team did, to be honest. So I think that's a big reason for it, George, is the fact that we all actually really enjoyed it so much that we're coming back now. In terms of the efficacy of it, I would say that it's I think that you do talk to people about the products that you've got and all that sort of stuff. But I felt as if rather than getting into any real heavy detail with people, it was a bit more of a lighter one. Do you know what I mean? It's a more of like a light kind of coverage of kind of what you do and what you got, which is still great. But like I say, in terms of perhaps being a specific expo or whatever, where you're getting into the actual detail of it. But I think that that's what it's about. It's about a kind of networking event. It's about people seeing people, and for that reason, like I said, I think it was so enjoyable that's the reason that we're coming back to do it. And of course, look, I mean, we've got some, like I said, we've got some really cool products. We're like I've already touched upon with the heritage stuff, internal stuff, and obviously with all the security stuff for the TD68. So yeah, we'll definitely have lots to shout about, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. And what kind? Yeah, obviously you said what kind of products will be there. Will you have a range of everything there? Because there are so many different kinds of people that will go to
Of course.
to fit shows. So yeah, will you cover all bases in that regard?
Yeah, it's a good question, George. I think it's all in relation to space, isn't it, as well?
Yeah,
And look, we're not one of the bigger boys. Do you know what I mean? We don't have that kind of absolutely massive, but marketing, advertising budget, for instance, where we can be, we would rather, if there's 20 grand to spend or something like that, we'd rather, spend it on a new wagon or something like that so that we
yeah,
can make sure that we can deliver to a customer more times a week, things like that, a bit
no,
more our drive.
yeah, yeah,
So we're not going to go over the top. We're not going to be doing anything silly on that front. But we will have a decent amount of space where we'll just have to really work out how we're going to structure it. I think we'll need to work hard on working out the flow of the stand.
yeah,
But at the same time, there are definitely sort of, especially ID30 wise, there's a few things I'd really like to showcase, especially like the public seeing it.
no,
Like I said, the telescopic doors and things like that. I just think that they're so cool when you actually see them. So that's definitely going to be on there. And then, yeah, I think it'll probably be heritage focused. I mean, you could argue that every man and his dog will be pushing that boat. But like I say, they are very nice, the products that we have. So it'd be silly
yeah,
of us not to put it on there. And yeah, there might be a thermal door on there as well, just
nice,
because, like I said, it's such a well-known product, and so many
yeah,
people know Jack Aluminium for it.
yeah,
We may well put like an STS 202 one on there, for instance, just to kind of talk people through STS
yeah,
202 and sort of show them how robust that door needs to be. So I
no.
think there might be a focus on that as well.
Nice. And what makes the shows a success for you? Like people go into there with different opinions of what makes the show. Obviously,
Mm.
sometimes the stands are not are not cheap, and they cost a lot of money to be there. But like, what makes a success for you? Is it kind of showcasing your products and showcasing who Jack Aluminium are, or like what is a success? If we could say what a success
Yeah.
looks like, what does
What,
it look like
yeah.
for you?
What does success look like for it? I think for us still, as you know, we're a relatively small systems company.
Yeah,
There's still a very good chance out there that people might not have even heard of us.
yeah,
So it's about growing that brand exposure. I think that's what it is.
yeah,
Putting it in front of more and more people, and the Fit Show is obviously a big one for that. And you know what? It's been quite nice. Like, even in the past, people walk past and go, "Do you know what? I've heard of you guys, but I've just heard of you. I didn't know any more than that." So it's an
yeah.
opportunity.
We get the same thing. It's like
Yeah,
we're probably similar to you, into obviously completely different
mm,
parts of the industry in terms of.
yeah,
But yeah, I just feel like having that brand awareness, and people do come up to say, "Oh, I've heard of pigs. Like, what are you all
yeah,
about?" And it can be
yeah,
that start of the question. And I always say to people, on podcasts and off podcasts, that when they're thinking about something, for obviously for you guys, for being in the aluminium side, be the person that they think of. Like, oh, I remember
yeah,
Jack Aluminium. I saw them at the Fit Show. I saw Ash and obviously same for us. And I just feel like be the company that they remember first. Say, oh yeah, I should have had a good conversation with them, and it,
yeah,
it leads to it leads to quite good stuff for I can say from our point of people coming to pigs,
yeah.
and actually wanting to be part of what we do.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. So look, I think probably, George, the exposure is probably the key thing.
Yeah,
Um, and look, if things, if business comes from it, leads, whatever it is, then wonderful.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, we won't be so driven by thinking, oh, this wasn't a success because we didn't get loads of leads or whatever it might be. Although we did get quite a few from the last one.
nice.
So no, I do think it's more exposure and more, just like I say, getting out some of these really cool products that we've got that have got loads of traction at the moment. It's just getting that out there for more to see, but also for people perhaps who already know about it to come and actually see it
Yeah.
firsthand.
Yeah. Nice. And as we wind down the main part of the podcast, we'll go back to speaking about yourself. Like after many years in the industry now, like what keeps you motivated for to keep on pushing Jack Aluminium because it has been a success for the years you've been in it. So yeah, what keeps you going on those dark days with no sleep, like you said when we spoke about off
Yeah,
air.
yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I think going back to that kind of family connection, I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I think I'm invested in it. So for me, it's just something that I kind of wake up and I think about, or wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh God, I didn't do that, I didn't do that. Whatever it might be,
yeah,
you're just invested in it. But you know what? I actually really enjoy it, George.
nice.
Like going back to what we were talking about, like, did I ever envisage myself being in the aluminium industry? Do you know what I mean? Did I think that's what I was going to be doing when I was older, selling aluminium rather
Yeah,
than what we spoke about, F1 driver or astronaut, whatever it might be? I don't know.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I do. I enjoy it. I really like, for me personally, I really love new business.
nice.
Just I like going in to new places, meeting new people. But again, going back to what we were saying, which is because I know when I'm sitting in front of them that we've got something really good.
Yeah,
And that's the really lovely position to be in. As I said, again, all thanks to what's going on behind me. But I can actually do it with positivity, and I can do it with energy because I know if they go with us, they're not going to be disappointed. Of course, look, we're human, we make
yeah.
mistakes,
Things
that
happen.
happens.
Yeah,
And sometimes we let customers down, this and that, but I'd like to think that we jump on it, we get it sorted, we get it fixed
yeah,
straight away. So yeah, I would say that it's the new business stuff. I like that. It gives me a buzz to get business. And it's also nice, of course, we have new startups, we get that, but it's also nice I'll be brutally honest, because I'm competitive and that's the way I am, but it's nice sometimes, you know what I mean, when they've been using the systems house, whatever it is, but they
yeah,
can't do this, they can't do that, or they don't have this. And I'm happy to be able to go there and say, we do have it, and, you can get it from us when you order it. And
yeah,
that's the thing. So yeah, I like that. I think that's probably what keeps me going, is I like that kind of competitive edge. And I
yeah.
like the fact that
The
we can.
sportsman in you.
I think so. Yeah, and we're one of the kind of small. We're a small outfit. Do you know what I mean? And there are lots of positives about it, but sometimes some drawbacks. So it's nice sometimes to go up against the bigger boys, and I think we
Yeah,
feel like that. Do you know what I mean? Being one of the smaller guys, if you like, that kind of David and Goliath,
yeah,
analogy, it feels good
yeah.
sometimes to go in there and get the business and keep the business. So I think that's a drive for me.
Nice. And would younger Ash at the start, when you're going out with your dad, be impressive with older Ash and how you've got in your career?
It's a great question. Um, I think so. Yeah. I mean, look, I've come on a long way from that kind of nervous wreck of going out with dad and going and sitting in front of customers, not
Yeah,
having a clue what's going on. Absolutely. Yeah. Looking back now, there's been some good things. I think there's always ways to improve, isn't there? And be better at the job that you do, and I think that's something that I am acutely aware of as well. Do you know what I mean? Just because I've been doing it a while doesn't mean that
yeah,
I know it all, or my method is the way of doing it. So we've taken on a couple of new salesmen recently, and one in particular who's got some really good experience. So we had a meeting the other day, and I've really enjoyed sitting and talking with him, and learned some stuff. Do you know what I
nice.
mean? He's been in the
Yeah,
industry longer than I have, so for me just to sort of say, oh well, I know my stuff. It's not that. I think
yeah,
you keep kind of you keep trying to learn, don't you, and keep trying to evolve. But no, I would say generally speaking, I think, yeah, I think pretty happy with how it's gone so far. Lots to do, but pretty happy so far.
nice. And would you recommend the industry? As a person quite young coming into the industry, we spoke about it earlier about getting new people into the industry. Would you recommend it? And is there any advice you'd give to someone just starting out in the industry or looking to get into it?
I think that for the industry, I think it's super important that we do attract in, like I said, the kind of younger people into the industry. Um, because like we spoke about, yeah, maybe things will move forward and will be more automated, and perhaps there'll be an age where, I imagine an age where fabricator on the bench, you'll have like an iPad there or whatever it
Yeah.
will be, and there'll be something like physically showing you through how to do it, which would be really cool.
Yeah.
Um, so, but again, having that base of knowing how to do things. Let's say that the CNC breaks down, or all of a sudden you lose whatever it might be.
Mm.
The ability to be able to strip it back to basics. How can I put this door together? How can I build it without all that sort of stuff to help? I do think that is still really important. Look, it's not the sexiest of industries, is it, George? I mean, we know that. I
No.
mean, but at the same time, I think if you like, some people like building things and seeing their efforts at the end of it and
Yeah.
seeing something physical at the end of it, then I would say that you definitely got that. Certainly talking from a fabricator point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that. Like if I slightly different, but if I build an IKEA just to draw at the end of it, like I'm patting myself on the back, like
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
that.
Good job. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The missus is like, well, okay, fairly easy, but
Yeah. It's a bit wobbly, but yeah, it's great.
but but no, I think like you say, you feel like you can see what you built at the end of it. But have I got any advice? Did you ask that? If I got any
Yeah,
advice for
yeah,
anyone
yeah.
coming
If there's any, obviously you came from a completely
in?
different part of, obviously having a ties
Yeah,
to the industry. But yeah, is there
yeah,
is there any advice that obviously you've grown up in the industry as such for you from your career? Like, what would you? Is there any
yeah,
advice that you'd
mm,
people right at the start?
yeah. I think it's like anything, isn't it? When you start doing something new, it's always hard. Always hard. Like, learning new. Well, some people find it easier than others, of course, but generally speaking, learning new things is hard to do, isn't it?
Yeah,
And sometimes it's very easy to go, do you know what? That's a bit hard. I'm not going to do that.
yeah,
But actually, if you just keep pushing, i.e., get back up the next day, do it again, and all of a sudden you remember a little bit from the day
yeah,
before,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden it starts building and building, and then you are where you are, 10, 15, 20 years down the line. And it's just second nature, isn't it? It just
yeah,
comes to you naturally.
yeah,
So yeah, I think probably just it's not even a business thing, is it? It's just part of a general life thing, isn't it? Which is,
yeah,
do you know what? Just get up, just get
yeah.
at it, and give it your
Building
best.
blocks.
Yes. Yeah. So that's quite a generic message, I guess, but
No, it's not. It's nice.
it's like a motivational speaker or something, don't I? But
Yeah, yeah, nice. And
that's not
and
my
lastly,
thing.
before we move on to our this or that round, what excites you most personally, as obviously for Jack Aluminium and as a business as a whole in I guess in the coming year or couple of
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, really exciting. I think it's a really exciting time for Jack Aluminium. I think we're moving in the right direction. I think as long as we hold on to our service and our fast lead times, we continue to grow that product range. We're taking on new staff here, sort of quite often because we're needing to at a difficult time in the market. Touch wood, we're doing some good things and we're still growing. So that for me is a really, really positive sign for when eventually it does actually sort of pick up for real. I think we'll really kind of kick on. But look, we keep growing the product range. I personally would love for us to have a paint line. It's like I say, it's the one thing that we don't have at the moment is that we outsource our painting. I would love for us to be able to do that and take care of everything in house and like I say, cover all bases. But yeah, just keep smashing it. Just keep smashing it. Basically, that's the plan.
Nice. That's a good way to end the main part of the podcast. Keep smashing it.
Yeah,
Perfect. Well, thanks very much, Ash. Yeah, like I said, the main part of the podcast is over. So got 2 more bits to do, which the first is the this or that round. So yeah, I just
yeah.
asked you just a quick question, and it's just
Mhm.
one thing or the other, and yeah, whatever first comes to your head.
Whatever comes to my head. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's easy stuff. Don't worry. So the first thing I'll ask is, do you prefer being in the office or out on the road?
out on the road.
Nice. Are you a bit of an innovator, or do you like a bit of tradition?
Tradition.
Nice. Early starter or late finisher?
Early starter.
Nice. Are you a city break kind of guy with your family or out in the countryside?
Out in the countryside.
Yeah. Are you a risk taker or a risk manager?
Probably a bit of a risk taker.
Good.
Mm.
Are you a one big goal kind of guy, or do you like lots of small wins to get you to that big goal?
That's the sensible way of doing it, but I'd say one big goal.
Are you a trying something new person or perfecting what you know?
Perfecting what I know.
Nice. And lastly, and I think I know the answer to this one, are you a live sport or a live music person?
Live sport. Oh, I love live music as well, though, George. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't say both, can I? But look, if you had to push me, it would be live sport. But I do love live music as well.
Nice. Well, like I said, for the last part of our podcast, we like to get guests to give a shout out to people. It can be in the industry, out the industry, at the company, whoever, friends or family, whoever you want to name. So, who your shout out or shout outs for?
So, I guess this is a bit of a blend, really. My old man, dad,
Nice.
um, absolutely, obviously, for being a great dad, of course, but more than that, obviously, like I say, getting me into the industry,
Yeah.
doing the job that I do today is because of him. He sort of showed me what to do. He showed me how to sell essentially,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'll like I say, it was so big thanks to him. I think probably everyone says this, but my partner as well, my missus, for keeping me on the straight and narrow.
Nice.
Definitely with an unruly 2.5-year-old. Like I said, definitely starving us of sleep. Like I said, she's really, yeah, absolutely, doing great in the background, which allows me to be able to crack on really and with the work because obviously it's full on. It's full on
Yeah.
times.
Perfect. Well, yeah, thanks for joining us on Two Pigs and Podash. Yeah, it's been great to, speak to you again and yeah, hear about obviously your career and yeah, everything that's to come for Jack Aluminium, which I think sounds exciting for the foreseeable. So yeah, good luck with it all, I guess.
No, it's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, George. Thanks, obviously, for inviting me on. And I'm sorry for anyone who's listening with all this waffle that's taken place talking about
No,
myself. But
it's better to have too much information than not enough.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks again, and obviously, like I say, I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, perfect. Well, you can find Ash's episode and all others on our YouTube channel at People in Glazing Society, on our website www.peopleinglazing.co.uk, and also available to download on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And whilst you're there, please don't forget to like and subscribe to make sure you never miss an episode. So, once again, thanks to Ash for joining us and for everyone listening, and see you for another episode soon.